pen lovers and stationery enthusiasts. It's Christy here, Snarky Wordsworth over on Instagram and Reddit. And today I am going to be doing a little bit of a state of my planner and journaling stack video. So obviously, at least the intro is going to be a little bit of a forward-facing video, which you guys know I just don't really do very often. But then we'll flip over to the overhead and it'll be just like normal. But I did kind of want to address a few things, specifically because I've been talking to other friends who also journal and plan in the community, and I've been hearing a lot of people who are feeling very similar to me. So hopefully this will maybe spur some conversation, or at the very least make you feel, if you are feeling like any of us, a little bit more connected to some other people. So I guess let's start with, what is the state of my planner and journaling stack? The state is not fantastic. So I started out this year super duper strong. I was journaling more than I have in quite some time. I just got a new printer that I loved the way it worked. So I was like printing out a bajillion photographs. I was finishing up some travel journals. I was planning like a fiend. I had this new sort of layout that I was really enjoying in my Hobonichi weeks. My work planner was working really, really well. I have this method that I really like that kind of mimics the week's layout, but in an A5 format, and it still gives me plenty of room to talk about like different things that I'm doing and projects I'm working on. And then all of a sudden, I'd say maybe the end of April, early May, I started to feel less invested. There wasn't like one big event or one big project or anything like that that just sort of killed things for me. I wasn't feeling as motivated. And so I started to sort of like drop off different things that I was working on. I wouldn't write in my journal for a day or 2 days or a week. And then it was this weird vicious cycle at that point. Like the longer I would not do something, the more I felt pressured to try and catch up. And then I had to catch up on like weeks. And then how am I going to catch up on all of these different things that I hadn't done? And so this hobby that I really, really generally love and have loved since I was a teenager, in like the 90s, was suddenly a chore and was suddenly as much of a stressing point as like my job. And I'd always done this as sort of a way to relax, a way to sort of pull back. And it suddenly just wasn't. And I felt really guilty about that. I felt really guilty about being like, forget it, I just don't feel like doing this. And again, it was that vicious cycle. I didn't know how to jump back in. I might feel like a little bit of motivation and be like, oh, I want to write in this again, or I feel like writing about this event, but how do I write about this event when I'm like 2 weeks behind, 3 weeks behind, 4 weeks behind? And it just kind of got worse. It just kept snowballing. And then I'm a librarian, so summer reading program gets really busy. This year, the theme was an art-focused theme, so I was like far busier than I've been any other year. And that just sort of ended everything. Even my Hobonichi, which has been my ride or die for like a decade, even that, I just couldn't do anything. It was like this weird stagnant period of time. And I'd not had that before, like where there'd be days and days and weeks of just blank pages. And that guilt was really, really bothering me. And then I just sort of was chatting with a couple of friends, and they were like, I feel like I feel that same way. These things, when they catch up to you, it feels really bad. And you feel this sort of sense of failure. And I do think failure is a word that works really well for me. Maybe it doesn't for them, and maybe it doesn't for you if you've ever gone through this, but I definitely felt like I was somehow failing at this hobby, which is ridiculous because it's supposed to be fun and it's supposed to bring you joy, and it was absolutely not doing that. So it took me quite a while to just sort of like let go of all of that feeling and just remember what I did like. Who cares if I skipped several weeks? Just write when you feel like writing. Like if something happens and you're excited about it, write about it. It doesn't matter if it's completely in order. It doesn't matter if the coloring is perfect in whatever you're sketching. It doesn't matter if you have the right fountain pen with you. Just put the ideas down, put the pages to rest afterward. And I don't know why that concept was so hard to receive for so long, but finally, I would say probably about a month ago, I started feeling like, oh, I do feel like writing, and I am just going to write this entry, and maybe tomorrow I won't feel like writing, but who cares? Because seriously, who does care? Maybe, past me felt motivation for these kinds of things in a different way, but that doesn't make today's me like less in some way, less of a good journaler, though what is a good journaler? And the more I kind of sort of let this idea marinate, the more I would chat with friends about it, the better I felt about it. So I guess part of the impetus for me doing this video so late in the year is that, one, it's fine that it's late in the year. Who cares? It doesn't really matter. And two, if anyone out there feels even remotely like this, if you feel stressed out by skipping a few entries, if you feel frustrated with yourself because you didn't perfectly fill out a Hobonichi spread for a week, at the end of the day, it's fine. It doesn't matter, because this whole hobby is supposed to be about fun and learning about yourself. And if what you are doing is making you upset or sad or frustrated, it's not helping. It's not making you grow. It's making you regress, if nothing else. So I guess, like I said, this is why I'm even doing this video in the first place, because I want other people to sort of maybe hear that there are others that feel this way. Like, at least I feel this way. So yeah, I have a lot of journals to go over. Like I said, the last month I have definitely felt much more motivation. I have been like excited again. And now they've just sort of let go of the fact that, you know what, if I don't catch up, I don't catch up. On all of these blank pages, I am starting to really have a good time again. And I think at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. So yeah, let's go ahead, flip the camera, and I can go through the specific state of my stack, what's working, what's not, what has changed, what I've let go of, and hopefully some of this information will be helpful, useful, or whatever with your own journey and your own stack. Woohoo! You made it through my very rambling introduction to this video. So let's go ahead and just dive right in to the state of the stack. This lovely little cover from Hand Stitched Leather Tea holds my ride or die. This is my memory keeper and my primary personal planner. And that is a Hobonichi Weeks. I have been in a Hobonichi Weeks for pretty much a decade now. Sometimes I'll dabble with other versions. I've tried the Cousin, I've tried the Techo, the Avec, and A5, A6 is amazing for me in other formats, but for whatever reason, the Weeks is just something that works for me the best. That said, this year, it just didn't. And I already talked a little bit about, just feeling at a loss to have motivation to enjoy myself. But in the last couple weeks, I've really fallen back into having a good time with it. So this is from last week. Goodness knows when I'm going to post this video, so maybe it's from a couple weeks ago. Who knows? But it was really, really easy to dive back in. I felt fresh. I felt, the same sort of relaxation I used to feel when I had done this, and there wasn't pressure, and there wasn't the stress of like, oh, I feel behind. That's what I really like about the weeks. There's very little space to write a whole lot, and why I like using this for memory keeping in the first place. Like, you just jot down like some basic thoughts about what happened to your day, or that's what I do. I've got like important appointments or whatever in this little column that I make off to the right. I've got whatever song currently is tickling my fancy. I've got some lyrics from it. And then this last week I was like, things that caught my eye. And if by things that caught my eye, I mean like stuff I want to buy. And it was just stuff that I saw when I was wandering around online, just odd observations. I'm in full-on buddy shipper mode at the moment because October's not that far away. And then the currently inked that I have for this particular spread, the different pens and inks that I use for it. So nothing like super intense. I didn't even put a habit tracker on it this time, but I felt enjoyment from beginning to end, and that's how I usually feel. So you can see I went like the first third of the year, I was really dedicated, and then there's just like emptiness. One entry, maybe nothing for a few weeks, and it got really bad. In July, I just didn't do anything at all. And granted, I was in the midst of summer reading program, and it was like wildly busy this year because I was running more programs than ever, and it was just a lot. But even if I hadn't been, I just don't know that I would have felt like writing or journaling or memory keeping. I just don't know. But now that I am back in the mode, I'm very excited. This is sort of like the skeleton of this coming week. But I am very pleased to be back in this book. So this is my, like I said, memory keeper and personal planner. I love this cover from Hand Stitch Leather Tea. I have a couple of them from the company, and they just do such a good job. Also, that's my cat Moo. Isn't he adorable? But yeah, I love this case because it can hold a ton of stuff. And also has like a little slip pocket in the back that I don't try and overstuff because I know that's going to be like over full without trying pretty soon. But yeah, I really, really love this setup, and I think that I am ready to be a little bit more consistent this time around, but I'm definitely also keeping in mind that like if I'm not, it's not the end of the world. Not winning any prizes for doing a perfect spread every week, or even a perfect spread for me, which is far from perfect, obviously, but I'm very happy to be feeling the love for this particular journal and planner once again. Next up is my EDC, my everyday carry. I have been in a traveler's passport sized notebook since 2018. I had to double check on an old order form, but yeah, 2018 was the first time I used the passport as a everyday carry. At the time, I was also using it as a wallet, but I have loved it from the get-go. The first time I used this as something as a regular part of my arsenal, it just ticked all the boxes. I love the size. It's just like my hand size. I don't mind the chunkiness. Sometimes I want something really sleek and really slim, but like this actually makes me smile, you know? And once I found the brass Kaveco, it just like everything came together. So, I've had many covers as my everyday carry, and this last April, I swapped into the red Love and Trip cover, just because how beautiful is that? I was quite concerned that it was going to dye my Galen leather wallet, but it hasn't. It still stayed that same beautiful natural that continues to patina. And so as we move along to that, I do have the Galen leather passport wallet in here. Super useful, carries cash. Yep, I do have cash in there. Shocker. I never carry cash, but when I do, it goes in that front pocket. Some rando stickers. Some of them were a gift from my work bestie. Gift cards, things like that. So I don't use it as like a standard wallet. I have like a card case for that. But like some of my extras and just little doodads. I always carry some of my business cards in here. I believe my immunization card is in that back slot. And then usually I will throw like little bits of ephemera that I know I'm going to want to use in my daily journal in that back pocket, or if I happen to have change from something, because I never have pockets. My clothes I just never have pockets. I don't know why. The main book in this is my collections and lists. I always have an annual that I just keep updating. This was one of the only things that I did keep up with, sort of, and even this I was not great at during my era of not planning or journaling. But I always have a Happy Mail tracker in here, general wish list, fountain pen wish list, ink wish list. This last changeover, when I swapped into the red cover, I started using one of these little file folders from Travelers. I just find them very useful. My little blotting cards, the extra ones that aren't blotting at the time, I'll slip in there, or whatever else I might want to put in. And then I love that it's sort of attached with the bookmark cord. So I just anchor it and use it as an extra bookmark, which is nice. And then I just swapped out into new blotter cards and dashboards, so there's that. I have things like I track like subscribers, because it makes me feel good when I get to like fill in a new block for like Instagram or YouTube or whatever. I track teas that I'm drinking, songs that I'm obsessed with, inks and pens that I actually buy, promotional codes. Oh, this is probably one of the most useful things in here for me. My Tombow marker tracker, so I know which colors I don't have and which ones I do, because there's certain colors that I use until they can no longer be used again, so I know I have to swap them back in, and I'll put like one of those little removable stickers on those squares when I need to actively refill them, and then I just pull it off once I get the new one in. But yeah, it's been a lifesaver since I started doing this a couple years ago, and I love it so much. But yeah, so that is the first book I have in here. And sometimes there will only be one book. I usually have a pencil board. I don't know why, because I never use them, but I just will at most use them as a bookmark. And then my other book will usually be like just to-dos. I'm not religious about this, but when I have like an especially busy day, I'll jot down like the things that I hope to accomplish. Oh, there's another dashboard that I just put together. But yeah, so definitely my annuals go in here no matter what, and then most of the time there'll be a to-do or just notebook in the back that I really, really like. So, and this is from Yamamoto paper. I love Yamamoto paper so much. The company is just so great. And yeah, it just works really, really well. Much like Tomoe River, but not. So yeah. Oh, let's go ahead and put this back in. So yeah, that is my everyday carry. I love this version. I do really like the red. I love how the scratches are coming in more and more. I just do think it looks really, really lovely. But I can't imagine ever not having an everyday carry in passport size. I don't think that's ever going to change, or at least not from a point where I can think of a reason for it to change. So yeah, very happy with it. Next up is my fountain pen and ink journal. This is a new cover for me this year. This is a Sojourner cover in the sand leather, which when I went to the website, they don't seem to have in stock right now, which is a shame because it's beautiful. I love this thing. It's a trifolio because I did want that sort of fold over. And what I love about the sand leather is that it completely folds out so it doesn't like flap in the wind. And when I'm doing things like currently inked, everything stays exactly where I want it to. I'm not like slapping my hand down on something or knocking it against a pen loop. That was one of the reasons why I wanted so desperately a new cover, because my old one had a pen loop and it just made me nuts while I was trying to film. But yeah, this is my fountain pen and ink journal. I have been in this one for a couple years now, since 2024. So yeah, it's got some beautiful colors in here. I love flipping through this thing just because, you know, it just is pretty and it brings me an enormous amount of joy. I'm going to try and be more regular about being in this book. I was for a long time just doing entries and pages when I had something in mind for Instagram or YouTube, but I'm just going to use it when I want to explore inks or explore things that can be done with pens or just different custom nibs, stuff like that. I think that I will have more fun with it than just waiting for something special for social media. And that just makes more sense to me as far as liking what I'm doing. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and definitely keep that in mind, but that's a sneak preview. Or actually, I don't know when I'm posting this, the September Currently Inked. It might not be a sneak preview at this point, but that's the latest entry in the book. But yeah, I really love this cover with it as well. So the book itself is a Tomoe River paper Kanso Noto from JetPens. This is the old Kanso Noto. So this is from like old school Tomoe River paper. Prior to any sales, I have like a stockpile of these. Like, it's slowly dwindling, but I'm trying to be really like particular about what I actually use these for. But yeah, God, I love this paper so much. Sanzen is fine, but like, it's nothing compared to the old school stuff, right? It's just not the same. But yeah, so this is my fountain pen and ink journal. I had not been in it too much since I started having my like weird thing with wanting to journal. But now that I'm getting back into the swing of things and enjoying it, I feel like this will be something I'll be much more invested in, and I will hopefully, like I mentioned, be more active in this book even when I'm not doing social media stuff. So yeah. Okay, so this is the one planner that I kept up with no matter how much I did not want to plan or journal. This is my work planner. It is probably the most important in the sense that if I did not use one, I would be completely lost at my job. I just got too many things deadline-wise to keep track of. If you don't know, I am a librarian. I run the marketing and digital technology departments for my system. So I've got appointments, but then I also have like press releases and different promotional items that I have to have out every single day. And then if I did not use this, I would just not have any clue what was going on. So yeah, this cover is a new one to me. I love this. This is from Hand Stitched Leather Tea, and it's their purse closure cover. I could not find one on their site anymore, so I don't know if they don't make it anymore, but I love it so much. It holds a really, really big planner, so if you have really, really thin planners, this might be too much for you. But this is in the Texas tobacco leather, which is beautiful. I have like a little external pocket in the back. But this is very, very useful. It's already started to patina. It was not quite this dark when I first got it, but I love that about it. And this side is definitely way darker because I do find myself running my hand against it when I'm just like stressed out about something at my job. So I always have these little these little dot stickers on the one side. And then I have Midori thin notebook to just do jot ideas for different programs. And when I'm running like certain events, I just keep a running list of things that have been done, haven't been done, stuff like that. And then the meat of this year's planner, this is also new to me. I usually use a Kanso Noto, but I'm trying to avoid using up all of those because I love the Tomoe River paper so much, the old school Tomoe River paper so much. So this year I decided to try the Midori Codex in A5. I do not tear the pages because that would cause me more frustration than anything else. But I kind of do like a modified DIY weeks sort of setup, in that I have the months front loaded, and then I put down different things that need to be done, like in big picture way, which I think is really, really helpful to me, like when certain press releases go out to different organizations and things like that. But then after that, I have these sort of weekly spreads, and I have appointments or like day specific tasks. On the one side, I have like a running to-do list, and then I'll take notes about different events that I'm running, how they went, things that went well, things that didn't, notes to bring up in meetings, stuff like that. Any issues that have cropped up in the week, if there are like problems with digital products, like if Libby's having a freak out day or whatever, I'll write down the notes like that over on the other side. And that's pretty much how I run it. This was the first year I used the Midori paper, and I like it most of the time. I have a couple of markers because the Tombos work perfectly on this. There's no problem whatsoever. But I have some like cheaper Walmart brand brush markers, and excuse me, do I have to use brush markers at the top? No, but do I want to? Of course. And they do tend to like feather like crazy, so they're really wet markers, and you can see, or maybe you can't, I don't know. but like, ooh, that's just not attractive. And it's not important, but it does make me kind of nuts. So I'm at that point of the year where I'm trying to decide, do I want to continue with this book or do I want to try something new? Not sure, have not yet 100% decided, but that is bound to be something that I'll be thinking over the next couple of months. In any case, like I said, this is something that I am religious about pretty much no matter what. The only times I don't fill this out is if I'm on vacation, but sometimes even then I'll have like the space blocked out so I can put notes of like, what am I going to miss? What am I going to need to catch up on? So on and so forth. But yeah, so that is how I handle my work planner, my DIY modified weeks work planner. I think other than my brush marker situation, I do really love the Codex. It is huge and it is chunky and I kind of wish it were a little less so, but it's like designed for this cover. It feels like perfectly fit in here, and I love that I can close everything easily. I do also love that everything lies flat, so I can just have this full on spread out on my desk and not have to be worried about space or be worried about this thing hitting me in the hand all the time. It's nice. It's really, really nice. So if you're someone who has similar issues, or if you also need a very thick planner, this is a really, really great setup. And I am very, very happy with this one. This is my everyday journal. This is a Camel Standard Traveler's Notebook with a green elastic. This little coin is actually an old school 90s subway token from New York that I used to fill my backpack with these. That backpack was the heaviest thing ever. I do get a lot of questions about it because who uses subway tokens anymore? But yeah, so I found that in a purse and I was just like, oh, nostalgia. So I like using it. It wreaks havoc on my elastic bands though. I gotta Dremel out the little opening space to try and get it a little less rough, I think. But yeah, so I have been in this specific book since 2017. It's been a real long time. 2017 or 2016. I'm pretty sure it's 2017 though. But yeah, I have been in this one particular camel book. It is that super smooth, super soft camel. It's never lost its nap. I don't know how, because most of my friends who have like these very like nubucky feeling traveler's notebooks, they by this point like they're pretty matted down, but I don't know, mine just never has. It's a little tiny bit on the back, but not much elsewhere. And I love this thing. That said, I have a number of other books that I kind of want to swap it out for, but every time I go to do that, like something just tells me, no, you love this book and you've been in it for so long and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I'm still in this one. This is one that I did very little with during my break from journaling and planning. But I'm really glad to be back in it. I've been catching up slowly but surely, and I've not been feeling stressed about it, which is good. It's got quite a few elements in it. The outside insert, that's kind of funny, is from 1.61 Soft Goods. I love this wallet. It is, I believe, goat leather, and it's just so smooth. And over the years, it has patinaed. It's not like a super even patina, but I kind of like that about it. And the back pocket is just always stuffed with ephemera and bits and pieces that I mean to put in, but I just don't because I just always forget about the fact that that's in there. The folder is newer to me. I think I got this earlier this year, actually, and I'm really liking it. I just pulled out the stuff that was supposed to be in here just a little bit ago. This is another 1.61 Soft Goods, and it's in their saddle leather, this little folio. But it is useful. I'll put like tickets and things like that that are a little bit larger than normal that I want to have lay flat. And then I just kind of a mix of like standard journaling and creative journaling. And I'm really good about taking photos and dating photos, but sometimes it just, well, you can see here. Like I just have the pictures inserted in places. I have to actually write the entries, which is like the fun part for me. But yeah, it's slow going, but I am catching up, and I am continuing to, take photos and jot down notes about those days so that I have something to really put in here when it gets to those particular dates. But I am, again, really starting to enjoy it again. The second book is just a sticker paper book, so that when I do have things like, I always pull off the stickers that go on cafe beverages, because it usually will say what it is and my name and whatever horrendous spelling they've gotten. I don't know why my name is so hard to spell, but it apparently is. But yeah, and I'll usually stick these in here until I can put them either in this book or in my cafe journal. So yeah, so that's just like sticker release paper insert. And yeah, that's pretty much it for my everyday journal and diary. But yeah, I think I might swap out the cover, but I'm having a hard time doing it. What do you guys think? Should I swap it? Should I keep it? Who knows? In any case, I still love this thing, and I will definitely be catching up. I actually am very excited to write the next couple of entries in here because it's of days that I was really excited about. So yeah, that is my everyday journal and diary. Okay, so this chunky bug is my travel journal. I've been using it for just a couple years. This is a whole new concept to me. This cover is also fairly new. It's the Tokyo Station exclusive, and I love the design of this thing. And I'm already loving how dinged up it's getting from my small jaunts around. So the insert in this is pretty close to being totally blank. It's going to be for my Chicago trip, and I only have like a couple things in there, like receipts from the Amtrak and stuff like that. But it usually it's usually like super chunky with whatever trip, like I mentioned. And this one will be as well. This has a brand new to me item. So this is the Galen leather traveler's notebook wallet that I got from my recent trip to Chicago in the Atlas sidewalk sale. I love my passport sized version of this so much that I decided I needed the standard because I couldn't imagine it not being just as useful. Love the pockets. Adore having the built-in pen loop. It's just so useful. I love that it has that elastic so it really grabs the pen. And it just has so many pockets. Like, I can absolutely use this for a wallet if I want to. It's got enough compartments to do that. It also has enough compartments so that I can have... Oh, I was wondering where those went. So that I can put photos, ephemera receipts, things like that, and never run out. This is full... Oh. This next insert, which is just the Travelers Company cotton zipper wallet, or what is it called? Hold on one second. This is the Traveler's Cotton Zipper Case, just so that I get that right. And I have this in the olive. This is wonderful for ephemera. I have several of these. And one, the zipper pocket, look at that. Those are all receipts for my Chicago trip. Don't judge me. But receipts, different tickets, things like that go in there. This front pocket, when I was on my trip, carried my... different like transit cards, tickets to different events, stuff like that, just because it has the little fold over, which I thought made it somewhat more secure. Because remember, I didn't have this the entire tour. It was just after I purchased it from the sidewalk sale. But yeah, and then I have, for reasons unknown to me, like another folio. I might actually take this secondary folio out. I don't really need it. But it used to just contain extra like texture paper so that I could make pages prettier, stuff like that. But yeah, so these two inserts, however, I think will be plenty to go around whatever like real journaling insert I have. Oh, so this will probably go by the wayside. But until then, that's part of it too. And then I always carry one of the brass clips with me just because I know that I'm going to need it to keep things in check. But yeah, so that is my travel journal. And I do really, really love it. And I can't wait to actually get started on my Chicago trip entries. It's just kind of getting to a place where I can sort of breathe and do that has been a bit of a challenge, but definitely pleased and excited to be working in this book. This cute little guy is my cafe journal. This particular cover is the Starbucks Reserve Roastery Tokyo exclusive. This camel is so nice. I have a couple other passport camels that are newer and just don't feel like this. This feels like my old camel, like that super smooth, like super comfy, lush kind of nubuck vibe, and I love it. This is what I want when I pick up a camel traveler's notebook. Anyway, so that is the cover itself. This is a Superior Labor magnetic clip. Super strong. I love it. It's got like that little pebbled texture that I find. I think this is Toscana leather, I want to say. I could be totally wrong about that. But I really, really like it. It holds my pen very securely. This is a Traveler's Company fountain pen. I added the little wax cotton loop, but it's a great pen. It patinas so beautifully. Can you see that? Whoa. And just the nicest, smoothest fine nib. And I love this thing. I wish I had more of them, to be honest, so I could use them with different notebooks, because this is always with this book. Inside, I just have a Traveler's Company cotton zipper case. This one I will usually keep like business cards, photographs, just like different trimmings for the book. I have a leather folio from 1.61's soft goods in there as well, and I have a couple like blotting sheets, and then I have a Traveler's pencil board. Again, I don't use these too much, but this one I do actually use. I lied. So the insert for this is the blank Traveler's Company the Midori paper insert, and since it's blank, I'm one of those people who cannot write in a straight line to save her life. So if I don't use the pencil board, I'm just like all over the place, or things will be like tip tilted to a degree that it's just ridiculous. But yeah, I have not been religious about this. I wish that I was. I take photographs of every single beverage that I buy at every single cafe with the intention of putting it in here, but I don't. But I have been for the last couple of times, and then I have photos from my Chicago tour that I definitely will be adding to this as well. So I'm hoping that I can sort of renew things. I just put an entry in the other day, citing like the rebirth of, the return of pumpkin spice season. So, and that was really fun to do. So I think I'll be a little bit better about getting invested in putting this together from now on. I don't really know if I should include this in my journaling stack, but this like term is my recipe keeper. So one of the things I do with my job is I run this community program every month. I run a community social where I feature like a load of homemade sweets and treats, and people can just come in from the community, sit down, have a conversation with somebody else, have a sweet treat, and then leave. And it's totally free. And I love baking, so it was sort of like just sort of fit together really, really well. That said, I'm always trying to come up with new recipes or modify older recipes. And it just seems like a really nice thing to do to finally have a book that has all of them. So I'm slowly putting this together. Again, I'm not sure if I can qualify this as a journal so much as like a keeper of sorts. It does keep memories, sweet dessert style memories, but all the same. So yeah, this is just a basic Leuchtturm hardcover with the dot grid, and you know, it's in black. It's nice. It's very, very useful. I have enjoyed writing in it so far. I don't use fountain pens in this one. I usually will use either ballpoint or this Uniball 1 gel pen that I absolutely adore. The ball pen is probably a better idea so that I don't run ink should I ever drop water on this, but I suppose until then we'll see. But yeah, so yes, recipe keeper in a Leuchtturm notebook. Okay, so this book is my transcription journal. This book this year has seen very little action, though it has seen many different iterations, which is odd. So this cover is actually the old cover for my fountain pen and ink journal, but as I was mentioning before, I hated this silly little pen loop, which is too small for most of my fountain pens to fit in anyway. It just was a hassle. It was in the way. Whereas with this transcription journal, it doesn't bother me at all. I have tried multiple books in this thing since the beginning of the year, and I finally found one that I really like. This is the Yu-Sari A5 with a 5mm grid. It is lovely paper. Lovely, lovely. Super smooth. Shows off shading really, really well. Does not bleed through. Very little ghosting, as you can see, compared to, say, like a Tomoe River. So the fact that it can show off all these characteristics is very impressive to me. Now, you'll notice there are only a few entries in this. That's because, one, I had a different book in here with paper that I wanted to use. I was trying out that Regalia paper again, and I just don't like it. I honest to God just don't like that paper. I thought it just wouldn't work for a fountain pen and ink journal because it was so absorbent. But no, I just honestly, for me anyway, don't enjoy the way the Regalia paper takes fountain pen ink, nor the way that it shows off any characteristics. So once I finally decided on the Yu-Sari paper, I originally was like using Dracula as my transcription base, and I just found myself not having a good time with it. And I love Dracula. It's one of my favorite novels. I just think it's like the whole concept of like the epistolary storytelling style is so interesting, and I find the Dracula story and mythos to be fascinating to begin with. But I didn't feel compelled to transcribe things. I was just like, it was, again, a bit of a chore. So I don't know why children's literature appeals to me so much with regard to transcription, but I went back to children's literature. My last book was Madeline Ellingall's Wrinkle in Time, and I loved writing that. I loved transcribing that so much. So this is from the mixed up files of Mrs. Basil E. Frankweiler. And I'm, again, having so much fun. Like, within one day, I did like 3 pages, which is very rare for me. Like, I don't usually do that many transcription pages in one day. And it was just fun all the way through. I wanted to see how the ink was going to look. It was like just a good time. So I think this one's going to be a winner for me. And it was very relaxing and enjoyable. So fingers crossed this will continue on. And hopefully I'll have many, many more pages of this particular children's storybook to come. Oh, and this cover is from an Etsy seller named Deano D. Beautiful, beautiful pieces. It's just, like I said, I hate this pen loop. What are you going to do? Last but not least is my social media planner. This is just the 2025 Midori diary with the grid. I love the grid. I've used the lined before, and I don't know why, but I hate that. I hate how wide it is. I just don't like it. I don't like working in it. So I find this much more useful. I don't use the actual calendar pages as much as I probably should. I had every intention of it, and I used to, but just this year has been just such a crazy year that I kind of fell out of it, but hopefully we'll be back into that. I just have the sort of like waxy paper underneath a clear plastic cover, and then there's just the notebook within. It's a really basic journal and planner for me, but it works. It's worked for the last couple of years, and I will plan on using something very, very similar in 2026. So yeah, I also love that it has like the built-in little bookmark, everything about this. It's so small and so sleek, but exactly what I need for social media planning. So this one gets a thorough thumbs up from me. So there were 2 books that were part of my stack for 2025 that just I haven't touched. I have no desire to continue touching. I just can't. I could see myself picking this back up in 2026 and seeing how I feel about it then. But yeah, for right now, they bring me 0 joy, which is frustrating, but that's how it is. So this first little one is in a blue traveler's notebook. in the passport size. And it was supposed to be this year's commonplace book. I have done next to nothing. Like I've got one page. And I had so much fun with it last year. I really, really loved working in my commonplace book last year. And for whatever reason, it's just not speaking to me. Maybe I'll pick it up in 2026. I don't know. We'll have to see how I feel then. But right now, even I'm not feeling compelled to do much with it. So that one's sadly a no-go. And then this is a Moterm A6 planner in that veg tan apricot leather, I want to say. I do love this cover. This is my media journal. I was so good about putting CDs, TV shows, movies, and everything in here, and I just stopped. And I don't know why, because I love the shows and the movies and the books and the CDs that I put in here, but it just stopped being fun. I'm hoping maybe with the new season of fall shows, I'll be like more interested in like writing about why I like them and everything. But for now, it's just sort of sitting dormant on my shelf. And again, just not feeling bad about it, but just wishing that I could feel more invested. Okay, so this has been my state of the journal and planner stack. I hope that this has been kind of interesting to people out there who maybe are going through a similar thing. If you happen to have any questions about my journaling journey or about any of these books, about the papers, about pens, whatever, please feel free to pop those in the comments. If you're also feeling a little bit burnt out on social media, on journaling, on planning, definitely feel free to share those thoughts as well. I do think that it's really helpful to know that other people feel similarly about things, especially when you feel like so isolated. I do think that's one of the things about this hobby is that, you know, since so many of us know each other online, but not in real life, it feels kind of weirdly isolated, no matter how many messages we might send back and forth, you know? So it's a strange sort of community of many and none at the same time. If you take nothing else away from this video, please know that feeling a little bit disconnected, I think, is kind of normal, and this hobby lends itself to that in some ways more so than maybe more active hobbies where you like are physically meeting people do. And if you need to take a step back, if you need to take a minute and be like, reevaluate, do that. You know, this is supposed to bring us so much more joy than I feel like sometimes it does. Like there's the stress of like producing content or of making beautiful pages or whatever. And that's not why I got into this. Like, that's just not, I just liked pens. I just liked paper. Like, and I'm glad that I'm sort of slowly getting back into that mindset. So yeah, if nothing else, just take that feeling and know that you are not by yourself. There are lots of people who probably feel that way. And even if people feel slightly differently, like there's sort of a connectedness in that otherness too. I don't know, that seems like a lot of mumbo jumbo, but it's really true. I do find myself when I'm watching videos and people are also talking about like struggles they have with their own journaling process or their own diaries, like I feel very comforted, and I hope this video in some way maybe made you feel better or comforted as well. So yes, if this video has been in any way entertaining, useful, helpful, whatever, please consider giving me a thumbs up, maybe even subscribe to the channel. As always, thank you so much for joining me. This has been very, very helpful to me, and I hope helpful to you. Again, thank you for joining me. If you made it to the end of this ridiculous video, you are everything that is awesome. Thanks so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you next time. Bye-bye.